Welcome back to Dance of the Alone, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here again, exploring these incredible insights from Prem Yogi Vajra's work, particularly through the lens of non-duality. Thomas, it feels like we're diving deeper into some really profound territory today.
Absolutely, Lydia. It's not just a podcast, it's almost like a guided meditation in itself, isn't it? That idea of the silent unfolding of Kundalini through non-duality really resonates. And today, we're starting with something that, on the surface, seems so simple but is incredibly powerful: silence as a teacher.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, in a world that's so driven by techniques, by seeking, by doing, the idea that the simplest truth is that silence teaches. It almost feels counterintuitive at first. We're always looking for the next book, the next guru, the next practice.
Exactly. My immediate thought goes to, how does silence teach? What's the curriculum? Because we're so conditioned to think of teaching as information transfer, as someone speaking, explaining, guiding us through steps. But here, it's suggesting something entirely different.
And that's where the non-duality aspect comes in so beautifully. It's about setting aside all those methods, all those strategies, and just being present. Just listening, but listening without any demand. Not listening for an answer, not listening for a specific message, but just listening to the space itself.
Listening without demand. That's key. Because I think even when we try to be silent, there's often this underlying expectation. We sit down to meditate and we're silently demanding peace or clarity or a vision. We're still trying to control the outcome, even in our silence.
Precisely. And when you let go of that, when you truly just allow yourself to be present in that listening, that's when something profound happens. The mind, which is usually racing, starts to settle. The breath, which might have been shallow, becomes soft, deep. And then there's this deeper voice that starts to emerge. Not a voice made of words, but something far more fundamental.
Yeah, I've had glimpses of that. It's like an intuition or a knowing that isn't formulated into language. It's more of a feeling, a subtle shift in perspective. But it's so easily drowned out by the noise, both external and internal.
That's why it's so important to distinguish between the silence of absence, like just the absence of sound, and the silence of presence. The silence we're talking about here, the one that teaches, is full. It's alive, it's aware, it's pregnant with possibility, rather than just being empty.
That's a beautiful distinction, the silence of presence. It's not just a void, it's a living field. And it's in this kind of silence that, as the text says, Kundalini stirs gently. It doesn't break through, it blossoms. That's a very different image than what we often hear about Kundalini awakening.
It is. We often associate awakening with a sudden, explosive force, which it can be. But this perspective offers a gentler, more organic unfolding, a blossoming. It's like the energy itself respects the sacredness of that inner stillness. It doesn't need to force its way. It can simply unfurl in the fertile ground of presence.
So it's really about cultivating that inner space, that deep, aware silence, and then just letting go of any agenda, allowing whatever needs to emerge naturally. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it?
Sometimes the deepest truths are the simplest, Thomas. And that brings us perfectly to the next idea, the inner fire and the flow. Because while we're talking about gentle blossoming, there's also the aspect of intensity, of transformation that can feel quite fiery.
Ah, yes. The fire and the river. It's like a complete picture of this energy. You hear so many stories about Kundalini awakening being this intense, almost overwhelming experience, and that certainly sounds like fire. But then there's the flowing river aspect, which sounds much more serene.
And both are true, aren't they? There are absolutely those times when the awakening feels like fire, burning illusions, consuming resistance. It can be intense, challenging, forcing us to confront things we've perhaps buried for a long time. It's an alchemical fire, really, purifying and transforming.
I can imagine that, like all those old patterns, limiting beliefs, things you've held onto for years. Suddenly, they're being challenged, questioned, almost incinerated. That would definitely feel like a fire.
Exactly. But then there are those other times when it flows softly like a stream, washing, cleansing, nourishing. It's a very different quality, more gentle, more comforting. It's the energy providing solace and healing after the intensity, or simply nourishing the newly cleared space.
So it's not just one or the other, it's a dynamic interplay. And the text poses a really important question here. What matters is not the form, but your presence. Can you remain still in the fire? Can you remain open in the flow? That feels like the core teaching, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. Because whether it's intense or gentle, our human tendency is to react, to resist the fire, or perhaps to cling to the flow. But from a non-dual perspective, both are just expressions of the same underlying reality. The challenge is to maintain an equanimous presence, a conscious awareness, regardless of the form the energy takes.
That's a high bar though, isn't it? When you're in the middle of a really intense, fiery experience, your instinct is to push it away, to make it stop. And when it's flowing, you want it to last forever. How do you cultivate that stillness in the fire and openness in the flow?
It comes back to the foundation we discussed earlier, that deep, aware silence. That's the anchor. When you're truly rooted in that presence, the fluctuations of energy become less overwhelming. You realize that the you observing the fire and the you observing the flow is unchanging. It's the witness consciousness that remains constant.
So the energy itself knows where to go, and our only task is to surrender, to trust. That's a huge shift from trying to direct or control the process. It's letting go of the steering wheel, isn't it?
It is. It's trusting in the inherent intelligence of the energy itself. It knows what needs to be cleared, what needs to be healed, what needs to be activated. Our limited mind often gets in the way with its ideas of how things should be. Surrender is about stepping back and allowing that deeper wisdom to guide the process.
And in this surrender, something ancient awakens. Not something you own, but something you are. That's a beautiful way to put it. It's not about acquiring something new, but remembering your true nature.
Precisely. It connects back to the core of non-duality. There's no separate self that owns this awakening. You are the awakening. You are the energy. You are that ancient wisdom. It's a recognition, not an acquisition.
That's a powerful realization. And it naturally leads us to the next point, which I find incredibly fascinating. The idea that the body remembers. Because often, in spiritual practices, there's this tendency to transcend the body, or see it as something separate from the spiritual part of ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a huge misconception, especially when we're talking about Kundalini. Because Kundalini is inherently embodied. It's a physical, energetic manifestation. The body isn't just this vessel that carries us around. It is memory, it is vibration, it is knowing. It holds so much wisdom.
It makes so much sense when you think about it. Our bodies have been with us through every single experience. Every joy, every trauma, every fear, every longing. It's all stored somewhere within our cells, our tissues, our nervous system. The mind might forget or repress, but the body remembers.
Exactly. Long before our minds can intellectually grasp what's happening, the body feels it. And when Kundalini stirs, the body responds. And these responses can be incredibly varied and sometimes quite intense. Tremors, heat, swaying, or even a profound stillness. These aren't signs that something is wrong. On the contrary, they are signs of something ancient being remembered.
That's a really comforting perspective, actually. Because if you haven't been taught this, experiencing tremors or intense heat could be really alarming. You might think, oh my gosh, am I sick? Is something going wrong? But to hear that it's the body remembering, it shifts the whole narrative.
It changes everything. It reframes what might seem like a scary symptom into a profound act of cellular wisdom. The body is clearing, it's reorganizing, it's releasing, it's responding to this intelligent energy that's moving through it, bringing it back into a state of wholeness and remembrance.
So the advice then is not to judge the movement, and certainly not to seek to control it. Just trust the body's wisdom. That also requires a lot of surrender, doesn't it? To let your body move or vibrate or experience heat without interfering or trying to make sense of it with your rational mind.
It absolutely does. It's a practice in deep trust. We've been so conditioned to control our bodies, to make them behave, to conform. But in this context, the body is the guru. It has an innate intelligence that knows precisely what it needs to do to integrate this awakened energy.
It's like the body remembers what the mind has forgotten. That you are more than form, you are presence, you are the dance. That's a beautiful full circle moment, connecting back to the idea of dance of the alone and the non-dual essence.
It is. It's the ultimate remembrance. The body, through its profound sensitivity and its ancient memory, reminds us that our true nature isn't limited to this physical form. We are the consciousness, the presence, within and beyond the form. We are the unfolding, the dance itself.
Wow, it's really about letting go of all our preconceived notions, isn't it? Letting go of the idea that we need to do something specific, or that Kundalini has to look a certain way, or that our body is just a machine. It's all about profound presence and trust.
That's it, Thomas. It's the silent unfolding. It's being present for the fire and the flow. It's honoring the body's memory. It's a complete surrender to what is. And in that surrender, everything that needs to happen happens naturally.
It's a journey of deep listening, isn't it? Listening to the silence, listening to the energy, listening to the body. It's all interconnected, all part of the same silent unfolding. This has been a truly enlightening conversation, Lydia.
It always is, Thomas. Thank you for sharing this space with me and with all of our listeners. If these episodes resonated with you, I truly encourage you to explore the book Akele Ka Naach or other works by Premyogi Vajra. His insights are truly transformative. Until next time, everyone, keep listening to the silence within. It has so much to teach.